welcome to another edition of News Make a Life with me, your host, Laura Japierre. Trending in the news, expanding Lamberts. So, Dr. Sham's lawyer, Mr. Marcus Foster, has told us that Lamberts had plans to expand and that the equipment to be used in that expansion is sitting on the wharf, and that the checks have been written and those checks will be bounced because, well, the assets have been frozen. Well, pardon me for being a little confused, Mr. Foster, but didn't the students come in January ready for tuition? And wasn't Dr. Shams arrested in March? And we're now in June, and we're now hearing about those equipment sitting on the wharf. Why didn't we hear about that before? Something fishy is amiss. I'm sorry, but I don't buy that. You need to come back and explain to us, Mr. Foster, what does that mean, that there is equipment and that there was plans for expansion, and then you go on to say that the students could have just asked for their monies, or, oh wow, this one is the amazing one, filed a civil lawsuit. But you know these kids have no money, right? So how are they supposed to file a civil lawsuit? They have no lawyer even today. So I'm a little confused about the expansion process of Lamberts. But still on the Lamberts issue, we now hear of that there was a stay of execution. I'm sorry, I meant a stay of evacuation from the Minister of Justice. So now these Lamberts students, who we were told last week would be evacuated or deported from St. Lucia in batches of 10s, we're now hearing that there was no plan, no real concrete plan to evacuate these students, and that it was pending permission from the DPP. But now that the DPP has said no go, they're here. We need a little bit more explanation. Why are we now hearing about that now? Why can't we be given full disclosure at the time that things are unfolding? Why are we waiting until all sorts of conspiracy theories have been theorized before we're hearing about these fantastic developments? Also trending in the news, still on Lamberts and the Nepalese students. So there is one more victim to the Nepalese saga or scandal. A baby in Nepalese has been born. First generation Nepalese, St. Lucian. So is the baby Nepalese born abroad, or does that baby now have St. Lucian rights? How does that work? Can somebody tell us? Maybe the Justice Minister? Does that baby now become St. Lucian? Inquiring minds want to know. Zika. So we've heard about Zika virus. First it was dengue. We knew dengue for a long time. And then it was chikungunya last year. And this year it's Zika. And we're hearing that the Zika virus at any point could be coming to the Caribbean. Well, guess what? It's here. Maybe not in St. Lucia, but definitely in Santo Domingo. So we really have to pay close attention. Remember the chikungunya scare that we had, and nobody talked about it, nobody did anything, and we just went about our business as if nothing. But now the Zika virus is very, very real. And last but definitely not least, something that we all have to be concerned about: legal guns being in the hands of, or rather, legal guns being in illegal hands. We've heard about an officer who was robbed, an off-duty officer who was robbed a few months ago while taking cash to the bank at the cinema. He was able to protect the cash, but his gun was stolen. We have not heard anything about that. We've heard about the 3 guns that went missing and the rounds of ammunition that were missing. In ancillary, we still don't know anything about the investigation. We don't even know if the investigation has been completed or if it's going on. It's ongoing. And now we're hearing about a security officer who was robbed of her gun. Now that gun was, to me, these things are supposed to be in a holster and they're not supposed to be easily removable. So these officers, these security officers that we have all over the place, and we need them because St. Lucia is rapidly becoming the Wild West rather than the Helen of the West. But do they have sufficient training in how to keep in possession of these lethal weapons as they go about their duties? For some food for thought. But when we come back from our break, it's all about occupational health and safety in the workplace as we get set to mark Occupational Health and Safety Week. See you on the other side of the break.